All right, so I decided that we're going to go with black spokes rather than rust spokes. I don't like the rust colored spokes. Frankly, these are pretty badly rusted, and I think that if we went with gray, there would be a lot of shadows and whatnot that would still show through the gray paint. So we're gonna take it from gray and rusted to black and shiny. This right here is our spare tire, and it was a worst case scenario. We wanted to see how feasible it was to take it, and I think it looks really great. And you know, black will hide a multitude of sins, and will look really good from a distance. Also, we're painting the calipers, so a little red caliper showing through the black spokes will look really nice, I think. So stick with me. I'll show you how to get from here to here in your garage without spending too much money. So when you're looking at these things, you want to be able to reduce the rust, right? The goal here is to paint black. So we're not worried about the color. We're worried about the texture and whether or not there's any divots in there. And so the idea here is just to make it smooth. And then after we come through, let me show you so there's you can use a grinder like this. This is the tool that I use for porting the intake manifold, or the head. So anyway, you can use something like this to get around these curved edges. You can put a bit on it to get down in some of the pointier stuff and get down in there. It's really kind of tight getting in there, but you don't want to necessarily you know reduce the size on here. If you were to sandblast this, you could take off a lot more material. I don't want to really reduce the size of these. I want them to stay strong. But all I want to do is make them smooth again. You know, rust is kind of bumpy. And so when you get done with the preliminary sanding, we're going to put it into some phosphoric acid, and the phosphoric acid deactivates the rust, and it turns the iron oxide into iron phosphate. Iron phosphate will no longer degrade with exposure to oxygen, and you can paint over that and there's no problems. So some of these spokes, you can get in there with a piece of sandpaper and just kind of, here's like some 600 right here, and you can kind of just draw back and forth. And for some of the smaller ones, you can cut the sandpaper, the width of the sandpaper down, but leave yourself some length so that you can zigzag back and forth between them. So once you get all that prepped, then you throw some brake clean on there, and that'll clean up all of the dust and all of the contaminants before you paint. And so that's it. Some of the stuff in here you have to look at. Aside from the aesthetics, you need to look at protecting the mechanics of the wheel here. So we want to stop this rust. So we're going to dip this also in, or paint it, or spread it with a paintbrush. We're going to get the phosphoric acid in here just to stop this rust from progressing, because we don't want to degrade the mechanical aspects of the wheel either. Some of the stuff in the back, look, that's just solid, right? So you can sand it the best you can with hand sanding with the sandpaper, and then run the phosphoric acid in there and turn that rust off so it's no longer active. All right, so here we can see we're just painting some of this phosphoric acid in here. This will deactivate that rust. You may lightly sand it afterwards if there's anything that needs to be touched up, but really the idea here is to turn the rust off so that it doesn't continue to degrade the metal. The trick with putting acid on there is some of the rust that's topical will go away completely and it'll leave bare metal. When you have bare metal, you have to pretty much paint it straight away. So if you're going to do this process, make sure you save enough time to get right to paint right when you're done with this. Otherwise, you'll have more rust and you'll have to start all over again. So the whole idea behind the metal etching, this is the stuff, it's getting kind of old and used. We've been using it for a lot of different things. is when you buy it brand new, it calls it, the name of the product is metal prep, and it's for etching metal for paint. And so it will actually make smooth metal rough and make it easier for the paint to adhere. So anyway, I just wanted to capture this process in here, and you can see how easy it is to go on there. You just want to get everything wet and let it soak. When we get done with this, we're going to rinse it off and then hit it with some brake free, make sure there's no dust or anything, and then we'll get right to paint. So there you go. You can see after a little bit of sanding and some treatment with metal etching, that phosphoric acid cleans it right up. It's nice and smooth. It's ready for paint. You notice any place where there was rust and the paint had a void, it's down to the bare metal. So that's ready to take some paint, and there won't be any issues with rust in the background festering after the fact. Stuff works really good. I'll put a quick picture of that stuff so you can find it when you're looking for it. It's a phosphoric metal etching. There you go. That's the end goal. Nice shiny black rims with red brake calipers, contrasting against the black and red. I think that's a great combo.